Hey guys, it's Joe from Style You by Joe here. Have a really quick, easy, super duper recipe for a summertime chili. What I'm gonna do first is say that this recipe is supposed to be made in a Dutch oven. Like so many other recipes, I have converted it to a slow cooker recipe. Um, Again, up to you. I love my Hamilton Beach slow cooker because it has a cast iron insert that I can take out and cook on the stove. So we have one onion here that I'm just gonna take in and dump in because I want them to get nice and translucent. The recipe, which I'm going to explain to you after I'm done with this, also called for 2 cloves of garlic. This is a super big size clove of garlic. I got it from Goose Island Farms, which is right by me. Again, support your local farms because it is a local business. So I'm only going to use one, like I said, but again, here it is smashed before I put it in to get it chopped up. It's just huge. I don't think it's all going to fit in right away. So I'll make 2 trips with that. 1. Come on, work with me, work with me. 2. Slide that all in. Give it a good stir. Like I said, we just want these to get nice and translucent, and that's the only thing I'm going to be doing on the stovetop. Other than that, this is all going to be done in my crock pot. So the original recipe calls for a half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, 1 red onion, I used a white onion, 2 cloves of garlic, super huge one, I only used 1. It calls for chili powder, it calls for cumin powder, it calls for 4 ounces of prosciutto ham, it calls for a green pepper, it calls for 3 cans of cannelloni beans, 3 tomatoes, and 2 tablespoons of flat leaf parsley. And here's where we jump off. So, again, I'm going to give that a stir. It calls for the sun-dried tomatoes that are not reconstituted. So I've diced them up already. I have it in the cup. It calls to rehydrate it with water. Water isn't flavored. Keep going over that. Chicken stock here. Give it a good shake. Half a cup. Now, the thing about this is when they did it with a whole cup of water. You set it to the side, you reserve half a cup of water, blah, 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 blah. Let's not do that. We don't want to make more steps for ourselves. So we're going to rehydrate it in the chicken stock itself with only half a cup. There's going to be no extra measuring, no extra steps. Pop it into the microwave, cook it on full heat. Cook time, 1.5 minutes, because I don't really care about the heating process. I care about rehydrating it. So we're going to start that. We're going to give this another stir. You never want your garlic or your onions to burn because they will get bitter. Not sure if I said it or not. There's about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here that it's simmering in. So next, we're going to throw in our tomatoes. It calls for 3. My wonderful, wonderful friend Linda gave me a ton of plum tomatoes out of her garden. I think this kind of equals maybe 2, 1.5. So I did go to the store and get a few extra. And again, this is not, it's a chili. I'm not worried about being precise. So I'm just going to slice off each end. And I'm just going to do a really rough chunk. That's the thing I like about chili. There's no kind of, well, there's a lot of rules to chili, but it doesn't have to be overly time consuming. Cut them in half, and then just go straight down and dice them. And we're just going to turn that off because I don't want it to keep beeping, but the tomatoes are going to keep steeping, and it's going to keep, well, steeping and getting more and more flavorful. I find too, when I do things in a crock pot, I don't actually have to worry about what goes in when, because it's all going to just cook throughout the day and break down, and there's no real having to worry about this being cooked properly or that being cooked properly. So here go the plum tomatoes. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Give that a good stir. The onions are starting to get translucent. I can smell them. It just smells great. I would definitely say that this is a cross between maybe a white chicken chili and an Italian chili. I do Italian chili as well, so that may reappear. Good Lord, I can't get the UPC off. So let's just peel the skin off. Throw those right into the trash can. These, again, I'm just going to rough chop. I'm taking out the center core. Again, remove the center core. Just a rough chop or a rough dice. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. That's my version of cooking music. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Our last tomato. Again, removing that center part, because who needs that? So we've cut them in half and quartering them, and then just going straight down and dicing them. And again, there's no kind of this has to be this way or this has to be that way. Once you know the basic step of any recipe, you can make it your own, and that's what I think so many people are afraid of, because, oh, you know, I don't like this, or oh, I don't like that. Well, what do you like instead of that? Because 9 chances out of 10, you can probably do it, and unless you're doing it for the person who invented the meal, oh, nobody's going to know it. Speaking of that, I do believe that this recipe I found in Cooking Light magazine, but I'm not 100% sure. So there are our tomatoes. Let me give this a good mop up, so get most of that tomato juice off of here. Next, it called for 4 ounces of prosciutto. It didn't make sense to me that something like this would get a prosciutto in it, so I go with chicken sausage. And to my 2 lovelies at Giant, I said I was going to mention you. I sure did. I couldn't decide between the garlic and herb or the Italian chicken sausage. So I went with the Italian chicken sausage. Again, this is by Alfresco. It's an all-natural chicken product, and I think it's probably one of the best out there. So we're just going to cut that casing that it comes in, or the packaging that it comes in, open. And this is 12 ounces. It only called for 4 ounces. So sue me. I like to eat. Chicken sausage is fully cooked. We don't need to cook them in the recipe. However, I do add it in earlier in the cooking because, well, I want all the flavors to marry. And being that there is spices in here, it's just going to go through. I'm just roughly chopping these into discs. I'm not measuring. God, please don't measure. Some are a little bit thicker, some are a little bit thinner. Nobody's going to come and measure it unless you live where the chicken sausage police are. Again, if I wasn't cooking this in a crock pot and just doing it on the stovetop, I may be a little bit more worried about cooking or dicing them evenly, but I'm not, so who cares? You can see all the green and red peppers that are in here, so I'm sure that that's yummy. In fact, since it is pre-cooked. Not so bad, it actually tastes like real sausage. Wash my hands quick. Again, if that would have been a raw chicken or an uncooked chicken, I would have used a separate cutting board for it. Being that it wasn't, I'm not worried about cross-contamination, which can make you ill. Give that a good stir. All my onions are translucent, which is where I want it to be. I am now going to turn off the stove, grab this, plop it into my slow cooker. Let's see if I can get you guys a better angle. Mazel tov. So, the recipe called for green peppers. Yeah, I don't think so. So I grabbed a red pepper at the grocery store today, and I was going by where they have the vegetables that are just starting to get soft and go out of stock or out of date, and they had 2 peppers for 69 cents as opposed to 3 peppers for $5. I did the math. Way better deal. I'm only going to use one, but one will probably go into a salad or another preparation. And if not, I've still saved money. Now, when I cut up a pepper for an application like this, cut off the bottom, cut off the top. I will quick dice up the bottom. Throw that in. So I've cut off the top, I've cut off the bottom, you can see through it. So just take your knife around, remove out the inners. Get off the tag because, well, that doesn't sound flavorful to me. I'm sure it doesn't sound flavorful to you. So I lay it open. I've seen on Rachael Ray that you should always cut it from the inside out. So we're just going to cut this down. I always remove the yellow part, or the the part that's not part of the fruit itself. Be sure to get out the seeds because the seeds are usually bitter. And then since I'm really not worried about everything being uniformed, I will just take these and lay them flat and maybe do about 4 at a time. And you're just going to rock the knife through, chopping as you go. Throw those in. Throw these in. And throw these in. And your pepper is done. We're more than halfway done with this, and seriously, the time on the clock is 15 minutes. So, we're now going to go and get our reconstituted tomatoes. They've plumped up, but I can see that the chicken stock that I put in has a wonderful red glow to it. Throw that in. Couldn't find my spatula. Give that a good stir. Next comes the 3 cans of cannelloni beans. Now, they call for all 3 cans of cannelloni beans to be rinsed. Okay, fine. But when you open it, you'll notice that the cannelloni beans are in, well, a gelatinous goo type liquid. That's starch, people. I always reserve 1 can of it and just dump it in with all that starch, because that's absolutely going to do nothing but thicken up your chili. And who wants a watery chili? Not this boy. So give that a good stir, and then we'll pop open the rest of these and rinse them the way we're supposed to, because I don't really want to offend everybody or the person who made this. But again, I like what I like, and you guys should like what you like, which is, again, why cooking becomes personal when you understand the steps. So we're on our last can. And we are going to get out our fine mesh sieve again. Dump both cans in there. And I'm just going to give them a quick rinse under cold water because, well, again, I don't want to even get rid of all that starch. But we'll dump that in. Stir that up. Okay, so now it calls for 2 teaspoons of chili powder and 2 teaspoons of cumin. Chili powder is not inherently spicy. It's got a little bit of spice to it, but just gives it that nice warm food glow, as I like to call it. Two teaspoons of ground cumin. Ground cumin is going to add that smoky quality that most chilies have to it. Oh, I can smell it. I love that smell. You either love the smell of it or you hate the smell of it. I love it. Now I have from McCormick Grill Master a chipotle and dried onion rub. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of that as well because I love the heat that that's going to bring, and it's just going to reinforce the garlic taste too. So 2 teaspoons of that. So I think I have all my bases covered because I use McCormick and Spice Island. So if you guys are listening, I like both of you. Free gifts, please. last thing is 2 tablespoons of flat leaf parsley. Just was at the grocery store. And one of the things I always do when I get the parsley, pluck a leaf or 2, pop it in your mouth. If it's gritty, you need to wash it. If not, I'm okay. I will wash this before I put it back into the kitchen, into the refrigerator. And I also will put a wet or a damp paper towel in with that in the baggie. Leave the baggie open so it breathes, and it will act as a incubator and keep your parsley fresh, because you don't want your parsley to go bad. But folks, we are in the home stretch of this recipe, and seriously, I have not broken a sweat. I have not done anything strenuous, and I haven't used any funky ingredients, unless you consider cumin funky. So we're just going to rip off a couple leaves of this. Take the knife, just run it through in a rough chop. Put it in. Again, give it a good stir now so all the spices go through. I'm going to get my lid. And now the crock pot is going to do the rest. Again, if you were making it in a Dutch oven, I would leave it on minimal until everything gets heated through, maybe 15-20 minutes. But if you put it on low, you could leave it cook for longer, maybe half an hour or so. I'm actually getting ready to go to the gym, so I've set this on low, and it's going to cook until I'm done. Again, guys, this isn't rocket science. Once you know a basic recipe, you can reinvent this. If you think that this sausage sounds gross, you could use the ham the way it's, or the prosciutto the way it's called for. You could get a thick country sliced ham, dice it up and throw it in. It's really about what you like and your taste buds. And when you get that, this all becomes second nature. Guys, have a stylish day. Thank you so much for showing me love. Any questions or critiques or something you want to see, please let me know. April, for you, another crock pot recipe? All right, guys, have a stylish day, and I'll see you soon.